Okay, I am brushing off the cobwebs of a very long YouTube break, and today we are just jumping in. Today we are filming the long awaited, the dreaded, the joyful, the intimidating, however you want to think about it, goals video. I wasn't sure if I was going to do one this year. I always get really overwhelmed in January. The time off that I have in December, I go into potato mode and I do absolutely nothing. And then as soon as January 1st hits, I feel like I need to do everything. I'm trying to incorporate a million new habits and I'm trying to think about how I want to show up in 2024. I usually start the year feeling like I'm already behind. So if that's you, I totally relate. I guess this is just a reminder that you can start whenever and you don't have to have your ideas and your visions formalized as soon as the clock strikes New Year. You can take some time to think about it, and I usually do. I usually take kind of the whole month of January to figure this sort of stuff out. But I do really like taking the time to reflect on these things, and I think it is helpful for me to set goals. The older I get, the more this sort of value setting is really helpful. So last year I made a video that was very casual, very brainstormy, and I came to the table not really knowing what I wanted to do in 2023, and I just rolled out a sheet of paper and did some mind mapping basically, and the topic was creative life design. Like, how can I design a life where I can do all the creative things I want to do? How do I make time for that? How do I prioritize that? I'm not going to repeat it this year. I think I'm going to carry over a lot of the things that I uncovered in that process and build on them this year. So this year we're just going to do some old-fashioned lists and we will hop into it now.
All right, let us finally do this. Don't mind the change in outfit. We had to refill in this part. That's okay. It'd probably be appropriate for us to start with writing. So first up, I have do another round of betas on Project Gemstone. Kind of me collapsing a bunch of different goals into one because in order to do another round of betas, I need to do another revision and clean it up once more, get all my beta feeder get all my beta reader feedback from last time incorporated. I'd like to do a little bit of a line edit and then send it out once more. So that's kind of a couple steps wrapped into one, but I would be really satisfied if that's what I got done with Project Gemstone this year. I don't know yet what its final destination. I can't talk today. I really don't know yet what its final destination is, so all I'm really focusing on is just how can I make this the best book that I can make it. You might be surprised by my second goal I have down here is to brainstorm for Sound of the Wind 2.0. Specifically, I really want to do deep character work and have an outline for this book by the end of the year. I have been thinking about this book more and more. It has been, there in the back of my mind, and it's kind of starting to come back to life, and it's starting to become a little bit shiny to me, and, I've been thinking about it. I took a long break from it. I shelved this project while I was working on Project Gemstone. They're so different. They couldn't be more different. One is very light and cozy, and the other one is very dark and serious. Actually, working on Project Gemstone taught me so much about how to write books and what it feels like when the process is working, what it feels like when things are going well. I really understand now what it feels like when plot and character are in synthesis, and that was totally missing from Sound of the Wind. And that's kind of why I could never really get it off the ground. And so I really want to take it all the way back and replot that book, pick out the elements that I want to keep, and pretty much start over from scratch. It sucks. I was on my third draft of that book, but the middle and end were just completely not there. And it all came from the fact that I didn't know who my main character was or what she wanted and what her motivations were. And not knowing that made writing the book really difficult. Knowing that for Poppy made Project Gemstone really easy. I want to take the lessons I've learned, and I think I'm a better writer now, and see if I can take another crack at this project. I'm not going to try and draft it. I don't want to try and rush anything. I just want to be thinking about it, thinking about who I want my characters to be, the beats that would make sense for those characters, and, do some mood boarding, do some brainstorming, do some world building, and take my time. Next up under writing, I have keep making videos. The more I make videos, the more I write. The more I write, the more videos I make. They're very symbiotic for me. I don't want to put any sort of like number on it, but I would like to do more than last year. I do find like video making to be like a nice creative outlet. So I'd like to find ways to get back into video making and keep experimenting with different types of videos. For my last writing goal, I have hit my reading goal of 25 books. And I do kind of count this as a writing goal because I think writers need to be reading. And I have so much I want to read in such a short amount of time. I really want to be reading broadly. I also want to be reading to try and find comp titles for Project Gemstone, and I have a long list of books I want to check out for that. I just find that when I'm not reading, it's really hard to write because I don't have words in my brain, and it can be really hard to like access that well of words, which sounds strange, but if I have books in my head, then suddenly writing flows a lot easier. And of course, the more you read, the more you learn about how to craft good stories and such. I usually end up reading somewhere between 25 and 30 books a year, and hopefully we will hit that. Okay, the next category we have is life goals. So aside from writing, some other things that I'd like to do. Most of these are things that I'm picking up and carrying forward from 2023 from that mind mapping exercise that I did. Some things I really succeeded at in 2023 and others I did not. One of those things that just really did not come to fruition for me was fixing my morning routine and specifically getting off my phone in general. And so I've written morning routine, phone be gone. I really, really, really want to stop using my phone as my alarm clock. I would like to be plugging my phone in like in the living room or somewhere out of sight and using the alarm clock that I bought next to my bed. Just really, really want to be breaking my phone addiction. It's stupid. It's really stupid. Yeah, I really would love to be getting up at a consistent time every day. Some days I get up earlier, some days I sleep in much later than I want to. I'm very inconsistent about what time I get up in the morning, and I would love to always have time to do one thing for myself before I log on to work, besides just like getting ready and, getting dressed and starting the day, etc. I would like to do something in addition to that, like my next goal, which is to be consistent about journaling. I would love if I started journaling most every day or every other day or a couple times a week. Anything, girl, because right now we're doing nothing and it's so sad. I used to be really consistent about journaling when I was in my early 20s. And then ever since the pandemic, it's really just gone downhill. I think I found it really hard to journal during the pandemic because nothing was changing. And we felt very stuck and stagnant, and there was nothing going on for me to write about. I think we can all remember during the pandemic, all of a sudden our lives were very small and there was not a lot happening. We were just waiting and waiting. And I found that hard to write about every single time I sat down to my journal. So ever since then, my journaling habit has kind of like fizzled out, and I've only written in it a handful of times in 2023, which is really not what I want. Like, journaling is so important to my identity. That's where I formed my identity. That's where I form my values. That's where I make my priorities. So much harder to make decisions when I haven't been journaling. Because I don't know myself as well, and I really need that tool in my tool belt, which is what I said last year, and we didn't find a way to fix it. So yeah, a big life goal for me is to be consistent about journaling. Next up, I have an exercise goal, and that is to exercise 15 times a month. I am very inconsistent about working out. Womp womp. And I would like to be. I would really like to find a routine, because then I think a lot of my stress around exercise would just melt away. I think I have a lot of guilt around, I need to work out, and then it doesn't happen, and then the next day I need to work out, and it might happen. And it's just, so every day I wake up feeling like I need to do something today. But if I had a routine where I had on days and off days, then it would just be a lot more chill. It'd be like, today's an off day. I'm not stressed about it because I'm going to do it tomorrow. And tomorrow's an on day. So it's January 13th as I'm filming this. I've been doing a lot better with this. I don't want to like jinx myself. I'm only 13 days into the year, but it's going well. I'll just say that. It's going well. I really like the fitness Marshall. But I have to do it alone in my room with like all the curtains drawn, because if anyone ever saw me dancing, then it would be mortifying and terrible. And lastly, we just have a few fun goals. So I always like to write down a few things that would just be really enriching and fun over the year. First one is an office makeover. Luke and I switched offices this year. It's a lot bigger. I have a lot more space, a lot more sunlight, and I want to kind of repeat a video that I made when we first moved into this house and when I moved into the other office. I did an office makeover video, and that's like one of my very favorite videos that I ever made. I think partly because it was intertwined with us moving to Atlanta and setting up our new space. My memories of spring are always like intertwined with this new refreshed feeling of coming to Atlanta and starting over and like turning a new page. All of that like yummy energy is like wrapped up in a ball in that video. But long story short, this new room does not have quite a lot of design. It's blank walls, it's random furniture, and that's fine, but I would love to spend some time just making it happy, making it cohesive, and putting a bunch of my art on the walls, because all of my art is just like stacked in a pile right now. I want to try to make more videos like that where there's an activity that we're doing throughout the whole video and it has like a very focused purpose, if that makes any sense. And next up, we have go to the Ren Fair. We have never been to a Renaissance fair, but I have always wanted to go. I'm a big fantasy nerd, we know this. Luke and I play a lot of D&D. Why haven't we been yet? I don't know. But we need to. We have gotten into the bad habit of thinking of it only when it's over. And it only comes to Atlanta at certain times of year. So hopefully this is the year where we will check that off of our bucket list. Okay, and last up for fun and my last 2024 resolution, I really want to do Skillshare. I have a membership, and that means that I need to be using it. So I'm setting the goal of doing a Skillshare session at least once a month. I mean, obviously I would love to do it more, but we'll just start low, set the baseline. These could be things like drawing. I really want to get into my sewing machine this year. Other hobbies, so that we can be a well-rounded person. In 2023, I put so much time into my writing and into my book, and it definitely came at a sacrifice of everything else in life at times. I really was very one-track mind, very focused, and I'm so proud of everything that I accomplished with my writing last year, but I don't want to ignore my other interests. And I really do want to emphasize things like drawing and sewing and anything else that might pop up during the year that I'm interested in. Specifically, my first class I want to complete is a class I have on Procreate. I got an iPad last year and I really want to brush up on my drawing skills. I drew a lot in high school, but I never really got super confident with it. So I have like a little bit of drawing proficiency, like a smidge. If I could get to a point where I could draw character art, that would be amazing. I would absolutely love that. Okay, and that is the whole list. So a little short and sweet compared to last year, but I'm really building on a lot of the things that didn't come to fruition last year and carrying those priorities forward. I hope you enjoyed this peek into what I'm thinking about for 2024, what I'm hoping for 2024. I would love to know what some of your goals are, especially if you have a fun goal. So yeah, with that, I will just say Happy New Year. Better late than never. And yeah, it's going to be a fun year. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.